So, a Nigerian doctor has just been sent to prison for a 268,000 US dollar fraud. That is the news coming out from the Punch this morning. It says UK jails Nigerian doctor for 268,000 US dollar fraud. The United Kingdom National Health Service Counter-Fraud Authority has announced that it secured the 3-year conviction of a Nigerian doctor, Richard Akinrolabu, for offences bordering on fraud by false representation to the tune of £268,000. Now, is it pounds or dollars? Because the headline says dollars, and here now it is saying pounds. Punch Metro learns from a statement posted on the NHSCFA website on Monday that Akinrolabu was employed as a trust grade specialist registrar in obstetrics and gynecology by the Princess Royal University Hospital, and between 2018 and 2021 he gave excuses for his employer to reduce his workload, because as a side hustle. The statement noted that while he was being excused on the grounds that he was sick and unable to work night shifts, Akinrolabu secured employment with other hospitals and was working the same shifts he had claimed he could not take up due to medical reasons. So the same thing these doctors do here in Nigeria with government hospitals is the same thing this guy went abroad and started doing in the UK. It read in part, a former NHS resident doctor has been sentenced to 3 years imprisonment after pleading guilty to defrauding the NHS out of more than £268,000. Why does this headline say dollars? Guess that was an error. Following an NHS Counter-Fraud Authority investigation between October 2018 and December 2021, he worked on call at night shifts at 3 additional trusts, despite informing his employer that he was unfit to do the same work for them. You can imagine giving excuses for not being able to do your job only to go somewhere else and do the same job to make extra money. The same thing these guys do here in this country that we complain about our leaders every day. They do the same thing. Every Nigerian does something similar, and now he goes to the UK and also does the same thing. Actually, it's what some of these doctors here in Nigeria do. They have their own private hospitals. Here they channel some patients from the government hospital too. You go to a hospital, a government hospital, and the doctor is very slow attending to patients, taking 2 hours to attend to maybe 4 or 5 patients. And then the rest of the patients, he will direct them, tell the receptionist to direct them to his own hospital, his own private hospital. That is not far away from the government hospitals. It happens here, from the government hospital, it happens here in Nigeria. He works these shifts while on sick leave or on reduced duties from King's College Hospital, as well as paying Dr. Akinrolabu his full salary. The trust had to employ locums to cover these shifts. They had to employ locums to cover his shifts. They had to employ other people to cover this guy's shifts that he was avoiding, that he was giving excuses for. In November 2021, KCH received information stating that Akinrolabu had been working night shifts at Basildon Hospital. Investigations by the trust local counter-fraud team found that he had worked several on-call shifts there. Like, what was this guy thinking? What was he thinking? I don't understand. Was he thinking that this is Nigeria where he would do something like this? And people would not know, or they will know and pretend not to know and pay a blind eye to it and do nothing about it. Was he thinking that they will not find out there? And when they find out, they won't do something about it. What was he thinking? Doing something like this in the UK. If some Nigerians do something like this abroad, do some of the things they do here in Nigeria abroad, I wonder what was running through their mind. The statement noted that upon receiving information about Akinrelabu's conduct, the NHSCFA conducted an independent investigation, obtained evidence, and invited the defendant for an interview in 2022, but he declined to comment on the matter. The NHSCFA noted that Akinrelabu was subsequently arraigned on a 4-count indictment bordering on fraud by false representation at the Woolwich Crown Court. The statement continued. KCH provided evidence which confirmed that he had neither sought nor received permission to carry out secondary employment. Timesheet and payroll information obtained from the other 3 trusts showed that the majority of shifts that he had worked were at night and on call, despite claiming to be unfit to do either. Wow. If you know you're this desperate for money, why not go into business? Is it a must? You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to succumb to the pressure of family and friends to become a doctor. You go into business, go after the money. Pursue the money. Why did you sign up to become a doctor if money was your priority? In June 2022, the local counter-fraud team interviewed Akinrelabu under caution, during which he gave no comment response. Following further investigation by the NHSCFA, he was subsequently charged with 4 counts of fraud by false representation. Richard Akinrelabu, 61, of Uffington, Kent, received his sentence at Woolwich Crown Court on November 4, 2025, having previously pleaded guilty to all 4 counts of fraud by false representation at the same court on September 3, 2025. Oh my God. So, this is not even the hush puppy kind of fraud. He obviously defrauded the hospital because he was collecting pay for time that he did not work and not for health reasons. He was busy working at another hospital and collecting money as well. While quoting the judge, the statement added, in sentencing, his former judge, David Miller, said, "You lied to occupational health, of course, your colleagues and your employer." This is really bad for this guy, for his career. The public doesn't expect doctors to lie for personal gain. That's what I'm saying. If you were to be a businessman, it will, but a doctor. Similarly, the NHSCFA head of operations, Ben Harrison, was quoted as saying, "This case demonstrates a clear and deliberate abuse of trust by an NHS professional who knowingly breached the conditions of his employment for personal gain. By working additional on-call and night shifts, despite being unfit to do so, Akinrelabu defrauded the NHS of substantial funds that should have supported patient care." It is simple. The way these guys see things it is not the way we see things here in this country, and this is why that country is working and this country is not working. This is the kind of thing you do here in Nigeria, you get away with it anytime, any day. Doctors pull, not just doctors, civil servants, public servants, they pull all manner of things here in this country, even worse than this, and they get away with it. But they're seen as nothing. This guy goes to the UK and he thought they were going to clap for him. This is fraud. It is nothing but fraud. And over there, they don't joke with something like this, coming from especially a doctor for that matter. The NHS Counter-Fraud Authority will continue to ensure that those who seek to exploit the health service for their own benefits are identified and brought to justice. Of course, Akinrelabu's conviction joins the list of Nigerians who have been arrested and convicted for fraudulent practices outside the shores of the country. Another bad name. The bad name this country already has. Punch Metro reported on September 19 that a Nigerian living in the United Kingdom, Farouk Adekunle Adepoju, was arrested by British authorities following a request from the United States government after he was indicted on charges of wire fraud and computer fraud. Fraud after fraud from Nigerians abroad. According to US prosecutors, Adepoju had hacked into the email system of a Pennsylvania construction company working for the university, then created fake accounts to impersonate staff and divert payments. Now, this is the kind of fraud I was even thinking this guy was involved in, not knowing that he was just involved in one of the shady practices that doctors in Nigeria do here and get away with.